Hi guys, it's Conor here from Absolute Music. Yesterday we had a big delivery of a few acoustic guitars, and in amongst them were these guys, Furch. The founder of Furch began building instruments back in like the 70s and 80s. He was in Czechoslovakia, and the first acoustic that he built was, instead of more like, traditional solid woods all around, it was a bowl back, like a ovation style guitar, fiberglass back and sides and a solid wood top. This instrument was so well received by the other musicians in his life and his friends and whatnot that he started to get people wanting him to build them instruments. The only problem with that is in Czechoslovakia in the 80s, under communist rule, you weren't really allowed to operate a private business. It was very illegal at the time, and punishable by many years in prison. So he had to build these guitars super secretly and only sell them to kind of trusted people. Then eventually, towards the end of the 80s, when the uprising and everything happened, he was able to open his business legitimately and start shipping worldwide and turn it into the brand that it is today. When talking about Furch, usually people focus on three main points that make them a bit different from everybody else. And the first one is the lacquer that they use is very thin. You can get a guitar, acoustic guitar, and it's covered in a shiny finish and well protected against dinks, but it's kind of suffocated its sound, if you get what I mean. The guys at Furch believe that doing a thin, specially balanced lacquer is best to sort of keep the tone woods doing what they're job is and projecting a lovely sound outwards instead of smothering it just on the off chance it gets a ding. Having said that, these are still very well protected even with the thinner specialized lacquer on them. We may or may not have accidentally bumped one while we were getting it out of the box, but you couldn't tell by looking at it, so I think it works. Another thing to point out with Furch guitars is how they treat the top wood of their instruments. Now, I'm not a luthier, I don't build guitars, but I know that it's a very, very intricate process in general. But these guys seem to take it a step further. So wood grows naturally, it's a natural thing, and as such it can have its own sort of quirks and different mannerisms that vary from piece to piece. So Furch take each of their top wood sections and individually tune them so that they are the most balanced and the most accurate sounding that they can be. The full actual process, I've not seen it documented. I don't know exactly what they do is what I mean, but I know that I've been impressed with all their guitars, so it clearly seems to be working all right. And the last main point to sort of hit on with Furch guitars is how they stabilize their necks. So they were kind enough to give us a neck. I'll show you some close-ups in a sec, but essentially, again, this is made of wood. Wood is susceptible to damp and moisture and whatever, and it can bow quite badly when it's got tension from strings on it. So to counteract that, people put truss rods in their necks, a bit of metal or carbon reinforced whatever, just underneath where the fretboard goes, so that you can tighten or loosen it and counteract that natural bowing that can happen at any time with a solid wood piece of kit. The way that Furch do it differently is, I'll get a close up on that, but essentially they have their truss rods encased in a carbon frame to make it even more stable, and then they also have this cast bit of alloy going back into the neck heel to keep it again even more stable. I've not ever seen another acoustic with this kind of bracing going into the neck heel, and they do it to make it as stable as possible to keep everything playing as best it can be. So we've had 6 of these land with us. I'm going to play through them all now and show you sort of all the differences. They're all different body sizes and tone woods and all that kind of good stuff. I'll also see if any of the other guys in the shop are up for coming in and having a little play, and showing you how these can sound with different players and different styles and everything. So let's get on with it. This is the Furch Green SR or DSR, so that stands for Dreadnought, spruce top, rosewood back and sides. Perfect. Nice one. So this is the Furch Violet DSM. D for Dreadnought, SM for Spruce and Mahogany. This is the Furch Violet Deluxe. Spruce top, mahogany back and sides. It's got a nice little contour here for your arm, and then on the back side here it's got a nice little contour for your ribs, so it's a bit more comfortable to play this one. It's also got dots on the side and no fret markers on the front of the fretboard, but these ones are quite long and interesting looking, which is cool. Let's hear how it sounds. So this is the vintage pure OM SM. OM is the body size, so the, what is that? Orchestra, massive, something like that. And spruce mahogany would be the wood, so spruce top, mahogany back and sides. So this is the blue OM-MM, OM being the orchestra size and mahogany. This one also has LR bags pickup in it. So this is the Furch Little Jane. It's a travel-sized guitar that's a cedar top and a mahogany back and sides. The real unique thing about this travel guitar is the fact that it's not just small, but it's also collapsible. So you can fold this down and put it in a bag that will then go in like the overhead compartment of a plane. Yeah, it's really cool. Strings stay attached, the headstock and neck pop off, and there's this little mechanism back here that lets you do all of it. So to dismantle this one, with a little mechanism on the top here, you pop it out, you then pull it free, give it a second, there you go. Right, now, as I put the body down, the neck comes away. All the strings stay attached, and even the headstock comes off completely. So now I've got a neck that can go through this little sound hole port here right by this mic, whoop, and then this wraps around and it goes in its bag and it can go on, as say, overhead storage on a plane. And then to pop it back together, you just slot it in, whoop, lift it up like that, get this here, push it back, and moment of truth. There you go. Right. Thanks so much for watching. These guys are going to be available on our website now, or they should be anyway. There'll be a link down below. Yeah, so just check us out on absolutemusic.co.uk or give us a call or come visit the store. Thanks.